Hey, good afternoon. So we are in the middle of Mishnah 16, which mention a number of different things which cause a person to lose their share in the world to come. So what we're going to do today is we're going to follow the view of Tiferes Yisrael, who looks at the whole Mishnah through the eyes of their different levels of heresy. And we're going to today we're going to go through all of them. Tomorrow we'll do the last ones in particular. So Rabbi Elazar Hamadoi said, right, Hamachalel es hakodeshim, someone who desecrates sacred objects, one who disgraces the festivals, who embarrasses someone in public, denies, annuls the covenant of Avraham Avinu, which means basically, actually, what it means is gets rid of his. That's for a man who had a bris milah to cover it up or try to change it. Or not have one. About Torah shelo k'halacha, someone who interprets the Torah not according to the halacha. So all those people, even if they do good actions, they're studying Torah, etc., they lose their share in the world to come. Excuse me. So the Tiferes Yisrael, he views this as 5 different levels, really, of heresy, starting from the worst, which is the first one, which is Hamachalal es hakadashim. He says that's referring to a person who denies God's existence. This is actually going to be sort of along with many of the things that we talked about when we learned the 13 principles of faith, because they're all included here. And so the basic is that God exists. So someone denies God's existence, so that person says there is nothing, the concept of holiness doesn't exist, right? If you don't have a God, then what does holy mean? There's nothing holy. Everything's the same. So he said, therefore, according to him, everything's the same. There's no anything more important or higher level of sanctity, and therefore there's no God, there's no service. The whole thing is out. That's the first level. The second level is Mavaze es hamoados, someone who disgraces the festivals. That's referring to a person who says, yeah, there's a God, but God didn't create the world. The world existed. God exists. And that's God has power, but that's the way it works. And they both always existed. And the world does not run. God doesn't run the world. He may have power, but he doesn't run the world. And nature runs the world. And this person says this type of person despises the holidays because the holidays all are really connected to belief in God and the fact that God created the world. So if we start with Shabbos, for sure, right? I'm going to take off the share. The Shabbos, for sure, is attesting to creation. So that's, the whole point of the seventh day is that 6 days God created the world, the seventh day rested. But even as we mentioned the other day, the festivals, and in particular, the Exodus from Egypt, right, is all of the holidays are connected to Yetzias Mitzrayim, and the Exodus from Egypt also is showing that God is running the world because God did all the miracles. He's changing nature, and if you don't believe basically, if you believe that God is created the world, then God can change nature. He can do whatever he wants because whoever created something from nothing can then do whatever he wants. And if you don't believe that God can do whatever he wants, you're effectively not believing that God created the world. They go hand in hand. And therefore, this person who is disgracing the holidays, that's the type of person who does not believe that God created the world. The third one is referring to, it says that someone who embarrasses someone else in public. So this is referring to a type of person who believes that God created the world and may even say that God is running the world, but does not believe that human beings are created in the image of God. In other words, that we do not have a soul, a spiritual soul, an eternal soul. And that person, therefore, if you don't believe that every person is in the image of God and every person has an eternal soul, so then essentially you don't believe that there's anything unique about a human being. There's really no difference between a human being and an animal then. It's all the same. Because the whole difference between a human being and an animal to us is that a human being has a soul which is connected to the Creator. If you don't believe that, so then really there's no difference. And unfortunately, I guess there are a lot of people who maybe conduct themselves nowadays that they think animals are on the same level as human beings. Um, that's the third level. The fourth level is someone he's talking about here where someone is annulling the bris, the covenant. So talking about a person who believes that exists. Hashem created the world. Human beings are created in the image of God. But this person denies that Hashem made a special covenant with Abraham and the Jewish people, and that Hashem treats it runs in terms of how he deals with us is through Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence. In other words, that Hashem is paying attention to every single detail of what we do. That's the idea, and that everything that we do is because God sort of made a little maneuver there. And also that the Torah is unique to that we have been given the Torah to observe, and not everybody has the same obligation, and that we're supposed to teach the world about God, just like Avram. A person who doesn't believe that, so that person is essentially denying that Hashem gave us the Torah, and that person is saying, you know what? If the mitzvah is logical, okay, I'll take it. If it doesn't make any sense to me, I'm not taking it. And for that, and that person also makes no differences between the Jewish people and anybody else. We're all the same. We all have the same obligations. There's no difference. And not only with that, but even within the people. Like we know that there are different obligations for different people, right? A Kohen does not have the same has different obligations than a Yisrael might have, a regular Jew or a Levi. Or men and women, there are certain different obligations. Yeah, many of them the same, but there are certain others that are unique to one or the other. And also throw it all in here that part of it is that not only do we have unique obligations, but we also have consequences, reward and punishment for those obligations that apply to each. And this person is a person who believes everybody's the same. There's no difference. There's no uniqueness, and therefore it doesn't make a difference who you are. You have the same obligations or lack of them. And the last category is someone who does believe that God gave the Torah, but only the written Torah. That person does not believe in the oral law, and they don't believe in things that are called what we call halacha l'Moshe Sinai, which is that not only did God give us the written Torah with the laws, but there are some laws that God and by the way, there's certain laws that are in the oral law which are interpretations of the written law, but then there are other laws which we call halacha l'Moshe Sinai, which are straight things that you will not find them anywhere in the Torah, in even hinted at. Yet God told Moshe certain laws. And a person who doesn't believe that is also denying that God gave the whole Torah. Also, part of this would be the rabbi's interpretations as being authoritative. And so these are the people who say, oh, you know what? I'm learning Torah, but I'm not necessarily following the law as it's been handed down. And all of these types of people, the Mishnah tells us that there's a certain lack in their belief, and that lack in their belief is strong enough to say that they do not earn a share in the world to come, even if they do many nice things. They do study Torah and they do many mitzvos, but if they're not believing in all of these core beliefs, this is a strong enough thing to say you are missing a core belief, and missing a core belief is going to cause a lack of ability to earn the world to come. And we will hold it there for today. Tomorrow we'll go through the embarrassment and more understanding some of those specifics.